all to the movie guys. Paul Preston here with you for another TMG interview. Joining us today, well, he made another movie. Frequent guest, buddy of ours, collaborator with the movie guys and director of films like Favor and Official Rejection. He's back with a new motion picture, a thriller called Cruel Hearts, coming to VOD, Blu-ray, and select theaters on February 11th. Thanks to Gravitas Ventures. I want to find out how that happened. That's cool. He is joined by one of his lead actors who plays Burt Walker in the film. It is Paul Osborne and Patrick Day. Oh, hippo. Absolutely. And yeah, Paul Osborne, once again, the mayor of movies, as we always call you. Really the mayor of the Phoenix Film Festival, for sure.
Oh, yes.
And then we're working on broadening you out to mayor of movies.
Well, you know, this year at the Phoenix Film Festival, they're doing a retrospective weekend for the 20-year anniversary. And the second weekend they're doing, it's all like an alumni weekend. And they're going to play 10 Till Noon, the film that I wrote and Scott Storm directed.
Yeah, so, I saw Gary King post something about that, too.
They're going to show
his old film?
Yeah, so...
That's cool.
Yeah, Gary King. So I talked to Jason, who runs the festival, and I said, I was going to come out weekend one, because that's when they have, the competition films, all the big parties. But I can't come out weekend two. He's like, well, you got to come out weekend two. You're a big part of the history. It's all the things. I said, okay, well, can I bring the 100 copies of Official Rejection I have in my garage that I can't get rid of? And
I think he gave me 25 of those.
Give them away. He's like, that'd be great. I go, Gary King came to my house and dropped off 50 Blu-rays of How to Write a Joe Sherman song and went, they're yours now, Dick, and left. Can I bring those too and sell them? And so then Gary's going to be there. So
well, that's cool. 25 years, you said? No, how long?
20 years.
20 years.
Yeah, it started in 2000, so it's the 2020. They've been doing retrospective or throwback screenings for the last couple of years to celebrate this coming anniversary. Like last year, Favor played there. The year before, another film that I think Mark Solros movie played there. So, but now they're doing a whole weekend they're going to run Pig, starring Patrick Fabian there.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, former guest of the show.
Yeah.
Cruel Hearts played there, correct?
Yeah, last year.
Nice. We mentioned Burt Walker, and everyone went, who? Exactly. So let's change that. Yes. Let's fill everyone in on who Burt Walker is. And if you've seen Favor, you know there's something wrong with Paul Osborne, and that hasn't changed with Cruel Hearts. It's another sick story of seedy people. So please, tell us what it's about.
Cruel Hearts is a film noir where a guy finds out woman he's sleeping with is actually she's actually married. But not only is she married, she's married to that guy. She's married to a scary mobster, and suddenly he's thrust into the middle of this dangerous love triangle he had really no desire to be a part of. So he decides to get ahead of this train wreck before it happens and go tell the mobster that he's been sleeping with his wife and beg for forgiveness. I didn't know she was married and blah blah blah. And the two sort of form this dangerous friendship. The idea was to take sort of the traditional film noir love triangle, where you have the successful but dangerous guy, and you have the wife who's a little too pretty for him, and then you have her young hapless lover.
Offensive. Yeah, I'm right here, man. I'm right here.
Nothing against you.
But he's not
that
wrong.
Pretty. She's that pretty.
She is that pretty.
and her young lover. But usually, the motivation of the young lover is he's sort of duped into it, and I'll kill him. And I was like, well, what if the motivation was different? What if he's like, I don't want any part of this shit? Yeah. As soon as he finds out, I want out. And so that was sort of the impetus for the film.
I love that you said get ahead, because my favorite TV shows involve characters who got to get ahead of things, trouble they've gotten into. The Shield, first of all. Every episode was, I got to get ahead of whatever the hell.
Oh, my God.
Ozark, same thing. Bateman says that once an episode. He's leaving. He's got his keys. Laura, where are you going? I got to get ahead of the thing I did with the guy over because somebody said something and it wasn't in the plan. I told them that they didn't do it, and they got Breaking Bad. Same every week. They got to get ahead of the trouble they've gotten themselves into, and that certainly happens here. It unfolds throughout the course of the whole film. It's Cruel Hearts. It's marriage story. With even more complicated relationships. Basically, here's a little clip from the teaser.
In movies, in the spaceship or the villain's lair, there's always this auto self-destruct switch, right?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Okay. People have those. Every single person has a self-destruct switch.
What's happening here is entirely a consequence of your actions. When you betray someone, there is a consequence. There is a cost. What you've done can't just be forgiven, and it can't be undone.
Everyone has a self-destruct
So Paul was mouthing along with the lines.
I think you've seen that before.
Yeah, but you cut it up, so it threw me off a little bit.
I did,
was like,
yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah.
but it was seamless. It was good.
Did you cut the trailer though too? Is it that indie or did you? Yeah.
Of course, I cut the trailer.
Yeah. Find what you love, let it kill you. That's the charming, welcoming catchphase of the film or tagline.
Yeah, it's not as
explain.
it's not as I'm thinking William S. Burroughs. That's not the guy. It's Bukowski. It's a Bukowski quote. Find what you love and let it kill you. And so it's paraphrasing that quote. We were looking for a marketing hook because with our last film, Favor, which also starred this guy, Favor is based on the idea of, a good friend helps you move, but a really good friend helps you move a body. That's a really catchy, easy idea to understand. And our poster, exactly. If you show the back of your shirt,
yes, I will.
It's the little cartoons of the guy holding the couch, the two guys holding the body. Yeah. Very easy. This is like, there's a guy, he finds out the woman he's it's like much more murky. So
you had to go to Bukowski.
Find what you love and let it kill you. We're like, I think at some point
to simplify things.
What's funny?
He's known for that.
The actor that plays the young dupe, Alev Aiden, he's a very intense and very learned guy, very very literate. And I showed him that poster. He's like, oh yeah, it's like the Bukowski thing. I'm like, yeah, exactly. It's not like the Bukowski thing.
It is.
Yeah.
Literally, I just watched Barfly like an hour earlier. I went,
Cruel Hearts. To all my friends.
Yeah,
that could have been the name of it.
Yeah. Is it an original macho energy? Why'd it have to be Eddie?
Frank Stallone's finest hour.
Oh, my God.
But the other line is in the press release, what today's independent cinema is all about. Now,
Well,
I know but that goes to the heart of everything you do as a filmmaker, right?
I guess.
Like, we've had conversations. You're not the biggest fan of, the franchise era that we're in.
No. I mean, they're not. I'll do the Scorsese thing. They're not for me.
Correct.
I'm not sure who they're for, but people go see them. It's funny, Tarantino talks about TV in public. I really consider them, I don't consider them rides. They're like their television.
Did he call it TV in public?
Well, no, Tarantino talks about digital technology. It's like TV in public. And I'm like, well, no, not really. But these are. I mean, I don't know. I like to compare the franchise films, especially the ones where they just, the Marvel ones are like the A-Team. I loved the A-Team when I was 15 years old. The A-Team every week. These really well cast characters come up and say goofy things, and their characters bounce off each other.
They shoot about 10,000 bullets, and nobody dies.
Nobody dies.
And then
cars flip.
There's no stakes.
Yeah.
They're all basically the same thing. They're basically the same
Nobody's
thing.
really hurt. Really hurt.
The bad guys aren't very interesting. They argue amongst themselves. It's a bunch of shit blows up and no one's hurt. And then next week it's the same thing again. It's like Scorsese said it really well in that
the final letter.
The final letter.
Yeah.
He goes. They're sequels in name, but remakes in form, and that's what they are. And that's to me, or also reminds me of their comfort. Back in the '80s, I always noted that television is about comfort and movies are about event. If you want to spend some time with your friends, every Tuesday at 7, you can watch Fonzie and Potsy, and you can see them, and they come on screen and. Henry Winkler would walk on a stage and the whole audience would lose their shit for a minute. They can't believe it's Fonzie showing up on the show. Fonzie shows up on literally every week at the exact same time. Yeah. And he can't get his first line. He's got to go to the studio audience, And I feel like that's the way with Ant-Man 3 is going to come out and they'll have Thor in 2 scenes and people go, "It's fucking Thor! I can't believe it's Thor! Oh my God!"
What theater do you go to
you were
see
passionate about this?
This is the online thing. I can't fucking believe.
What do you make of Scorsese saying all that though, and then that they're not cinema, and then putting a movie out on Netflix?
Well, he said they're not cinema to him.
Correct, but then he puts a movie out on Netflix. That disappoints.
And some theaters.
And some theaters.
Some theaters enough to qualify for Oscars.
I'm going to defend Netflix.
Well, I often do too. They greenlight things that otherwise might not be.
Here's the thing.
And they have an unlimited budget.
What's led to this blockbuster opening weekend culture, which is, that's franchise movies, whatever. It's led to this very everything's on the opening weekend because it's all about shareholders and it's all about these very short-term ideas. But what's led to that is the conception that the opening weekend is everything, right? You have to make your corporate overlords happy by showing that this is this. It doesn't matter if the film has absolutely no shelf life and a year from now is making nothing. They want that opening weekend. And that's destroyed mainstream movie business. Netflix has removed that from the equation completely. And they're expanding out into theaters now, and it's like they've made films that no one else would make, and they made I don't go to the movies as much as I used to because I don't want to see anything that's out there. I've seen maybe 10 films in the theater this year, not counting festival screenings, and 4 of them are Netflix movies. Mm-hmm. I'll go pay to see The Irishman. I'll go pay to see Dolomite. I went and saw El Camino in the theater. Because
I wish I did. I loved it.
It's really good.
I loved it so much.
It looked amazing on the big screen. It's
I can imagine.
35 cinemas. But I'm saying,
Well, I did the same thing with 1917. I got a screener, but then I went and watched it in the theater because that's a movie you
want to see in the theater.
Cinema with a capital C, but also a capital I and a capital N and an E and an M and an A.
Yeah, but I would rather go see. So like that's the thing. Like I was a regular moviegoer. I go every week for years. I've kind of stopped going all the time because there's just nothing out there, But the Netflix is putting so. If Netflix really wanted to upend the whole thing even more than they have, they should go find a bunch of closed theaters around the country. There's tons of them.
Because there are plenty of them.
Buy them up, brand them Netflix theaters. I'm sure the corporate overlords in the Senate would have no problem with this, with the monopoly. They've removed those rules. And basically say, hey, you know what? We're going to run Netflix movies in here, theatrically.
I would love
So they were bashed for doing Roma. It's like, you guys wouldn't make this movie. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't make this movie. And yeah, we only opened it in like 3 or 4 cities, but the fact is that anybody around the country can see this movie. If you guys made it, you wouldn't have made it. But if you had, you would have buried it in New York and LA. We're making it available everywhere. I'm saying if you had one in every market, rural Wisconsin's got a fucking Netflix branded theater, and you say, hey, you know what? If you're a Netflix member, you get 2 people in for free. It's $5 for every person after that. If you're not a Netflix member, it's $7 a person. And concessions, and then we're going to run Netflix movies. And we're going to, and like, they'd clean up. They'd take the business because people are like, oh, I can go for free to the cinema.
Yeah, there's still things you'd want to enjoy with a crowd, like Dolomite. I saw that twice.
Like Dolomite,
movie.
It's a great movie. And so and then they would go, and then they would make the money on the concessions, and that would be enough to operate the theater because they'd be packed all the time.
Well, we expanded the conversation.
Yeah.
But going back to Cruel Hearts as being what today's independent cinema is all about. A lofty phrase. I can see your face. You're like, well, that seems like a lot. But basically,
you have to write a director's statement when you put out a press kit, and it's like you can't just be like, oh, whatever.
I like my movie.
Well, let me
movie good.
Let me go to another phrase from the EPK, which is cinema of the 70s. Creative freedom is relegated. No, I've paraphrased it, but anyway, creative freedom is relegated solely to independent films, and that was the model in the 70s. And you're trying...
The lunatics took over.
And it's still a thing today, correct?
Yeah, well...
I mean, Blumhouse, I guess, gives creative freedom.
Blumhouse gives creative freedom because they make the film so cheaply that they can't really lose money on them.
Yeah.
They go, it's under $5 million. Just our existing channels, we can make that back.
That's what I've heard about him. Low budget, no release date until you're done.
Yeah.
And so you're not rushing towards one.
You're not tied to
directors' creative freedom.
It's a great business model.
Yeah.
I think they've slipped in the last couple of years because they've started getting into this franchise thinking where they're like, we're gonna make Purge 9. We're gonna reboot Black Christmas. Like I feel like they need to have more pitch meetings to bring more people in. But that's exactly it's a great business, and they've done some crap, then some great stuff, but the fact is they bring these people in and they make these movies that kind of can't lose money. Two of my favorite films the last couple of years, Get Out and Upgrade. Upgrade's amazing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing film, and that's them.
And my friend Mike always says the best Star Wars movie you'll ever see will be one when they make it for $40 million.
Yeah.
Like they just put the little creative, put a little restrictions on them, and I bet you they crank out a better film.
Right.
I totally agree with that. It's the adage of theater. Don't go out and buy stuff. Find it from your house, bring it in, because those interesting moments are stuff you can't write.
Right.
You discover new ways of telling stories that are really interesting and different.
Well, or you go to character, you go to story, you go to things. Like this, to bear your theory out is, I wasn't a huge fan of Joker, but Joker is a lot higher artistic reach than most superhero films.
Mm-hmm. True.
Yeah. And they spend a lot less money, a big risk for them.
Unpleasant.
But
highly. Did you like Joker? Is it likable? I don't know. I guess I'm impressed, but good Lord.
I don't know. For me, the things in that movie.
But I agree with you on the artistic integrity of that.
Yeah, and the performance. Although, again, this is a guy, Joaquin's done work that good before.
Correct.
And those kind of characters before. If you haven't seen You're Never Really Here, You Were Never Really Here? Is that the film?
I think so, yeah. I haven't seen it, though. Yeah.
That's a tremendous movie. It's on Prime.
Yeah, I want to see it.
And it's only 87 minutes, and it's an equally great performance.
Well, he was brilliant in the was it what was the Scientology one?
The Master?
Master. I thought he was great in that.
For the record, though, if you only have 86 minutes, I recommend Cruel Hearts.
Right. Well, thank you. Yes,
thank you.
But for me with that, for a joke, actually, can we? So this is a spoiler for Joker. So zip ahead a minute or so.
No, just turn the volume down and turn it back up.
For me, the worst parts of Joker were the things where they actually went to the cannon, like when he goes to Wayne Manor.
I agree.
And Bruce Wayne is just standing outside the gate of his mansion, just hanging out, just standing there like fucking Children of the Corn, like Damien. And he's like, and I saw him walk towards the gate. I said, oh God, he's gonna say, "What's your name?" And he goes, "What's your name?" Oh, he's gonna say Bruce. Bruce. I'm like, fuck you. But this is the best part. So the end of the movie, when the riot's happening, this is the spoiler part. The riot's happening, and the Wayne family has decided to go to a Skid Row movie. There's literally crowds of people chanting, "Kill the rich," in front of places he's speaking. He's a famous public figure. Let's go to a Skid Row theater downtown and show my kid a movie with no protection, and let's park on the other side of Rape Alley to get there. So they're walking through Rape Alley with the kid, and and the guy kills. Here, dance the devil. They kill the parents, but the theater they're walking, because it takes place in 1981. The film Joker takes place in 81. Although somehow this poor guy is affording a VCR in 81, which cost about $2,000 back then. But regardless, forget that. So he's walking out of a theater. It's 81 because the two films playing at the theater. The Gay Blade. Zorro, this is Blowout, and Zorro the Gay Blade are the two films playing at the theater.
I hope to God they saw Blowout.
There's no way. Yeah. There's no way.
They're going out to the last
There's
film.
no way the conservative Wayne family took their kid to an R-rated movie to see Blowout.
Not in
They went and saw Zorro the Gay Blade. The last film the Wayne saw.
And then they died.
The last film the Wayne saw in life was Zorro the Gay, which my parents took me to see in the theater in 81.
Every 10 years, the movies remind us that Bruce Wayne's parents died. There's not much of a spoiler.
But I'm just saying.
That's true.
I'm just saying. Someone made the decision to say, I think you would see Zorro the Gay Blade. You can make that Raiders of the Lost Ark. You can make that Superman 2.
Make it Reds.
You can make it. You can make it Superman 2. You can make it so many. You can make it Rocky. What? I don't know. Rocky. That was 82. Never mind. That was 82. But you can make. Nah. I think we need a George Hamilton movie in there. That's due for a comeback.
That's crazy.
The film that rode on the coattails of Love at First Bite forever.
Love at First.
Did you see the movie once, Joker? Did you see it once?
Yeah.
Wow, and you took all that away. See, I forgot what was playing.
I saw a screener.
You take away the weirdest stuff, don't you? Like that's like you thoroughly noticed that and have a theory on it. Cool.
Of course.
You were probably already fired up.
Well, the worst is if there's anything in a movie chronologically, I start calculating like Joker's 40 years older than Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I thought of that too.
He's like, I am Batman. He's like, hi, I'm the Joker. I got one for you, kid.
Not quite the Joker yet, but I'm already 40. Yeah.
His criminal power is he tells Shecky Green jokes. Take my wife, please. This is a current joke when I was a kid.
That's Eddie Youngman.
Oh, sorry. Oh, you're right. No, you're right. You're right.
But all right, so let's go back to the script that you put together is in relationships and how complicated they are, and and people dealing with the dark side of their humanity. So that's what I think is going back what you put here about like the cinema of the 70s, whereas today it would be Bert and what's Alev's character?
Guy.
It'd be Bert and Guy need wedding dates, right there. But instead,
which by the way, that's a sequel.
That's the sequel. Yeah, exactly.
Spoiler, Paul.
Yeah, he went out and found this. So is that appeals to you? Is that what appealed to you in doing all these movies with Paul?
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I feel like the luckiest guy on earth. I got a guy who's writing movies and asking me to be in them to start with. So that's very appealing to start with. No, honestly, I feel so grateful and honored that I'm allowed to do these kind of characters. I never thought of myself as playing somebody like Burt Walker, but I thought Marvin was more in my more
the character from Favor.
Yeah, it was more something I could play. But even that, when I first read it, I was like, this guy is really weird. But what a gift to be able to kind of dig into these characters. And so, yeah, when I read it, I was like, as a matter of fact, when I first read it, I wasn't sure what character you were thinking about me for.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You were thinking Guy?
I didn't know. I was like, oh, maybe I'm Guy, maybe I'm Sal. I don't know. I just sort of read it and go, what do I get to chew on? So.
Well, like that character is based on. It's inspired by what I call the tough guy with a heart characters from there's the Limey There's Get
such a
Carter.
good movie.
There's Point Blank. This one's really influenced by Point Blank. There's The Long Good Friday. These are characters where these are gangster movies where the gangster has a soul, and it's about him wrestling with grief or wrestling with whatever.
Sopranos.
They're usually there's another example. They're usually revenge movie structures, but not all of them. The Long Good Friday isn't. So I sent you. I gave you my Blu-ray of Point Blank.
Yes,
And-
with Lee Marvin.
Yeah, I mean,
fantastic.
Yeah, but like Lee Marvin, these are guys that you know. It's not a stretch to say you can do the things that Lee Marvin does.
That certainly helped.
Yeah.
That certainly
was a key
helped.
for the character.
It helped pull it from the page a little bit for me.
Yeah,
But yeah, but when I first read it, I'm like, they're talking about this guy as being this tough guy, and I don't see myself as that. So it was.
But you don't see yourself as Marvin from Favor.
I guess
right?
I don't. I mean,
it was,
now,
if you haven't seen it, a
certain
creepy
days.
loner, creepy.
Yeah.
No, he liked it because in Marvin he got to eat because he had to gain weight for the role, and this one he had to lose weight for the role.
Yeah.
So he's like,
Go to the
Well, you
gym.
kept it off.
Can I play the fat guy again? Because I got a pile of Snickers bars, kind bars.
Never again. Taking that off was not fun.
We can pad the suit.
Yeah.
Well, I had the privilege of being stage and camera directions guy for a read through of this.
Yeah, we did a
way
read through,
back
and
in
you
the
came
beginning.
and you read all the
yeah.
stage
So I did all
directions,
that, and so did it change much from that first reading?
No.
No, really.
No,
So,
there were-
so by that time, had you already done a bunch of rewrites, or what was your
Yeah.
rewrite process?
I tend to. I mean, usually I can tell when something's wrong, so I try not to give it around to people until it's where I can't see the problems anymore. Like I get it as far as I can, as polished as I can, then I go, here, check it out. By the time I decided to make it, I'd already gone through kind of my inner circle of people who read my stuff, and it had already kind of gone through that already. So I consider that a shooting script. I mean, I was, when we were done, we did adjust
By
it
the
as we went
time
along.
you
Yeah.
say it out loud, by the time I think you'd invite you in to come and read, I think
wouldn't
you're
it
pretty
be-
much set on.
We have a mutual friend, Blaine, and Blaine's very different. Blaine likes to send out scripts when he's like in the sloppy early stages.
The cut to the chase is Blaine Weaver?
Cut to the chase is
yeah,
Blaine
to the
Weaver.
Chase
yes.
is Blaine Weaver. Yeah.
He likes to send out scripts in the early kind of mushy, like he's still figuring out what it is, and I'm like, why are you doing this? Like, it helps him find it. For me, I'm like, I know the film I want to write, and I'm like, this is a problem. I'll fix as many problems as I can identify until I get to a point. Usually, what happens is they're usually so polished because I'll write a couple movies. I'll go through a writing stage where I'm writing 3 or 4 movies, and each one will kind of go out to the sort of a few people to be read and sort of get feedback, and it's never like change this. It's always like it doesn't work because it's all so tight. You don't know something can really adjust or it does work. It's pretty much the notes I get back, and sometimes there's some things like this is too long or this is too this, but for the most part, and I don't want to bother actors with reading it.
Yeah, I was going to
So
say, it's not unusual, though, is it, to like want to hear the interplay of actors giving your lines live?
It can be if we were
Because I think that people do that sometimes when they
Yeah.
and then they go away and rewrite. Or-
sometimes if we did incorporate some things I think that you guys came up with, but
Through
also
the rehearsal process, though?
through the read and the rehearsal, because we do also I like to do rehearsals, so we do before shooting. So we'll go and we'll kind of work through the scenes and we'll talk about. I mean, just getting the actors familiar with it and steeped in it, and sometimes I'll make changes from there, but usually very minor.
And is that mostly, I haven't even asked you this, is that mostly for blocking reasons?
It's a money saving measure.
Well, because for me, being on this side of it,
Yeah.
the blocking, you
Helps.
give us plenty of freedom with that in terms of how does this feel and where
Right.
are you going and all that stuff.
Well,
So
that's-
I think that's helpful for you
Right.
to kind of see what naturally is coming up as we're
Absolutely, because
working, and then you'll design camera around that
Yeah.
if you can,
Yeah.
based on the location.
Because when you're shooting, that's when the money's burning. So you don't want to get into a location. I have it for 6 hours and go. So what do you guys think of the scene? And what's my motivation? And let's discover.
Unless you're Stanley Kubrick. And then-
Well, then you don't have 6 hours in the
Right, then
location.
you got 6 months.
Then it's in your fucking warehouse you own, and you can shoot for 2 years in that location. I'd rather have those questions are good questions to answer. They make the scene better if the actors can understand this, or what talk like you and Bonnie, who plays Terry, spent a couple of
That's the
sessions.
Lobster's wife.
Yeah,
right?
just
Yes,
talking about the history. That
our
I just sat there.
relationship and what
She-
her day looks
Yeah.
like, and
For her, she just liked to really, and this also rehearsals let you know what the actor's process. Every actor is different. Every actor's process is different. Unless the process is hurting somebody else, you want them to be able to pursue their process, and you have to allow for it. So by going to rehearsal and learning how each actor works, you can then tailor your day. Like, this person is really fresh first. Do their coverage first. This person likes to work into it. Do their coverage last. This person likes to not talk at all. This one likes to talk a lot. This one likes to talk about the history of the characters. This one is more about this. You know, which if I need someone to step towards a window because that's what the light is, some actors you got to say, you got to give them a reason why they should walk
The
towards.
motivation, yeah.
So other actors, you go, it looks cool. Walk toward the light. They'll go, cool. I'll think of something. So it just depends. And the rehearsal process, but yeah, exactly. So when you get on the stage, on the shoot day, the actors are already, and I'm already familiar with how this scene's supposed to function. So we can sort of adapt what we did in the rehearsal room and go, okay, that's A, that's B, that's C. I know where the coverage is going to go. And the actors can sit into it and go, okay. And then it just takes, and very quickly, they're back to where they were. They can find it again. But being in the space, hopefully, makes it fresh. That's the theory anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not stale. Sometimes you get in there and it doesn't work. The blocking is totally, we got to start over, but it's pretty rare.
Chili John's parking lot.
Yeah. That scene was just like, it was a 6-page dialogue scene between Patrick and Blaine Weaver in Favor. And there's multiple, like, he's going to his car. Your character surprises him. You go back to your car, then you walk back to his car. It's like a lot of stuff happening in this scene. We have to shoot it the second half of the day before the sun comes up. It's like 16 setups. It's not quick. We blocked it in rehearsal, and we figured out the scene days beforehand. We're shooting it. Blocking didn't work. Doesn't work. It's completely handcuffing every dramatic moment, every character impulse in the scene.
You know, sometimes it just
doesn't work.
You feel like you're trying to walk through quicksand.
Yeah.
And you're trying to stay connected, and you're like, in my head, I'm going, I don't buy this bullshit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I know my best critic, there's no way he or she's going to buy this bullshit.
Right.
And probably if I have a fan, they're not going to buy this bullshit.
Right.
So, and then you start going down this, as an actor, you know that terrible place where you're just, it's downstepping and downstepping and downstepping. And that's particularly difficult during a night shoot.
Yeah.
On a low budget movie
Yeah.
that you've already rehearsed and thought it worked, and
with that much coverage,
like
and
not
that,
working, you know.
So basically, it became in that situation. It was like, just do it the way you feel it. I'm not gonna, and she did it a couple of times. I said, great, do it. And they both times they did it, they kind of ended up in the same spots. Like you found a new rhythm for it. So then I went, and then I had to learn it. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna back the camera up. I'm gonna do a super wide shot. Do it one more time. A couple takes that way. Then I'm just going to follow you with the camera. It'll be sloppy, but and then I had to in my head kind of rewrite the shot list and the movements for where I was going to be. But I was able to. One, this is the idea that when you're prepared, you can throw everything away and rebuild very quickly, because I was prepared. But this allowed them to free up and it made the scene. It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie, because you guys are so good in it. And it's because you took the handcuffs off.
Yeah.
Because they were in that case, the preparation was handcuffing you.
But what you just said, I think, echoes and resonates for me as an actor, and when you train actors, you know, you want to go in with these really strong, specific choices and commit to them 110%, but then on a dime, be willing to change it the moment casting says, oh, by the way, it's a comedy, or, you know, we're doing it this way. So you want to come in strong, like you did with the pre-work, but then not be so married to it that you can't breathe a little bit within that. But I guess that's tougher as a director.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, but it's the same thing, though. It's the same thing. It's a combination of being rigidly prepared, but being ready to throw it away if it's not working, and being able to recognize it's not working. And doing a
That's a big one.
Doing a documentary really helped me with that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because in a documentary, it's all
you have to.
You're capturing and you're in your mind putting
it. Yeah.
You're finding it, and so that really helped loosen me up, because I used to be one of these like, it has to be this way.
It's the storyboard, and we've got to do it.
Yeah, no, it's how I saw it in my head, and it's not the movie. It's like, no, it's still the movie. On the film Fluorescent Beast we shot last summer, which we're editing now, and you weren't there for this, but there was we had a scene that was supposed to be shot at a hotel pool at night, and we had it was again the second half of our day, and it was a sit-down conversation. It's not, a little bit like, I think Dawn walks over and there's a little bit of talking and walking, but they mostly are sitting. So we lit the thing. It took forever to light, very tough to light. We're dealing with people at the pool, and we're kind of, whatever. As soon as we're set to go, opens up raining. So we have to scramble, grab all the gear, grab all the lights. We're running into an alcove, and we're like, how long is the rain going to go?
Where are you?
We're at a Best Western shooting this scene.
Where though? What?
This is in Fluorescent Beast. This is a movie we're still editing.
No, sorry. What part
Southern
of town?
California.
Southern California.
It actually rained.
Hey,
didn't
why-
it?
how does-
Believe
I
it or
mean, what
not,
are the
it
odds?
Opened up.
happened, yeah.
It opened up. And so we're like, well, we kept seeing the forecast, and it kept like 10% chance. It kept going up, 20%, 30%. If I was like 70%, and I'm like, it's not coming though. And then it started going down, and we're like, okay, we're probably okay. And then that's when it rained. So we're already 3 hours into our 6-hour stretch after lunch before we're at 12 hours where meal 2 comes in, and we're like, we're nowhere. We're nothing. And so that was a situation where we like literally, the gaffer and I walked around the hotel, and we're like, we first tried the bar. Can we shoot in here? And they said, well, we got to close it and legally blah, 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 blah. And so they said, oh, but you can shoot in the lobby. And there was a big roaring fire in the lobby. So we completely restaged this entire thing, lickety-split, ran, scrambled, lit everything, and we got it shot. And that's like a 4-page scene of dialogue. But again, the actors being prepared were able to adapt what they did. And we managed to get the scene done and be wrapped by the 12-hour mark. What was really amazing in that scene, though, is Dawn Brody, who's playing in the scene. She's outside smoking, and she discovers the other character, and she was so looking forward to smoking because she just had a baby. She gave up smoking for the baby, but she could justify having one for the film. So she's like, she had a pack, and I said, I bought you the pack of the non. She said, no, get the regular, get the Marlboros, get the American Spirits. I want to. Come on, if I'm gonna do it. I gotta. It's method. I gotta. So then, of course, when we did it inside, she couldn't smoke anymore. So I said, well, you stand by the coffee station. She was just, coffee. I gotta get coffee. I can have coffee.
Going back to the staging thing, I went to see a screening of Steve Jobs back when that came out.
Oh, yeah.
And I loved that film. Aaron Sorkin, I believe, wrote it. A lot of walking and talking.
Mm-hmm.
And
Boyle.
Seth Rogen said, yeah, Danny got a soundstage and mapped out the entire set that eventually they went on to a physical set of all the locations where he launched all these different products. But and so Seth's like, yeah, normally I go in, I'm like, what are we doing today? And now, but this is like, well, I had to know everything we were doing because we blocked everything so specifically.
Yeah.
Like that seemed like a crazy bit of I mean, no improv.
That one you have
no improv there, really.
That one you have to. I mean, my God. I know the movie Free Fire. The director used Minecraft. He built the entire, because the whole thing takes place in it's a shootout in a warehouse. The whole film. He built the entire warehouse in Minecraft.
Was it the one with Charlton Copley?
Yeah.
Any movie with him is good.
Yeah, and he basically built the whole thing to scale in Minecraft and used Minecraft to map the movie out.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's
but you can.
And like a lot of indie films, are you in the new film too? Fluorescent?
I am.
Yes.
Yes.
You're riding that wave,
dude. I'm so excited. It's a smaller part, right?
It is, but you have more dialogue.
Unfortunately, I have more dialogue.
In Curl Hearts, he doesn't talk a lot. He really kind of, he has a few lines.
A lot of bristling.
Brimming,
broods and brims, a lot of non-verbal stuff. So in Fluorescent Beast, it's a supporting role, but I gave him. You have a 10-page monologue.
I do.
Damn. Well, you bring
every scene.
I didn't know whether to love him or kill him. You know.
Well, we talked about. I think before we started taping, we were talking about producer Joe Pizzul. I know he worked on Favor in a different format. Of course, you have actors I'll mention in a second who are returning to this, but also the great Joe Kramer returns.
Yes.
To work on the score with John Massari and
Ian Arbor.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Ian works with
Joe Kramer.
Ian works with Joe. They're like,
oh, okay.
So when Joe gets busy, he brings in Ian, and Ian's great. And then when they both get busy, I bring in John Massari.
There you go.
And John Massari is known for Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Yeah. So the three of them all kind of had to. Joe was his availability was very impugned. So he would come in when he could, and he would dip out when he had to, and John filled the gaps.
Was he working on The Man Who Killed Hitler and then Bigfoot?
I think he was. He had a TV show also that like he finished it, and then like a different network had bought it and had to rescore everything. So that was a big thing, like right in the middle of it.
And then Elev Aiden was on this film, and I remember you telling me why you cast him. It's because you saw him in a short called Lonely Boy.
No, a feature.
Sorry, called Lonely Boy, an indie film called Lonely Boy, and you said it was like the best performance you've ever seen anybody give.
No, I said it was it was one of the best debut performances I've seen from anybody since like Al Pacino in The Godfather.
There you go. I mean, that's high praise.
It's one of those.
It's incredible.
And he's great in Cruel Hearts. Yeah.
He's incredible in that movie, in Lonely Boy. Yeah. It was in Phoenix the same year we were there with Favor. That's where we met him.
I believe it's on Prime or Tubi or both.
So Troy
Daniel Smith produced it.
Yeah.
Alev wrote and stars in Lonely Boy. And it's funny because Alev doesn't act anymore. He quit acting. Lonely Boy he took off as a writer from Lonely Boy, and he's like, we were shooting Cruel Hearts. I'm getting up acting. I'm like, what are you talking about? You
just did a great film, and now you're in another one.
And he goes, it's like, I hate auditioning, and I find writing equally as fulfilling. And I'm turning down jobs. I have so many writing jobs.
Oh, wow.
Last time I saw Lev was a couple of weeks ago, and I said, "How you doing?" He's still at Uber River, and he walks outside of Actor Space to his Porsche, and he goes, "No, I'm doing okay. I'm doing better." He's doing well. So, but yeah, he's Lonely Boy. If you have a chance to see it, it's terrific. It's on Prime.
I've wanted to see it since you told me about that. Of course, I failed at that.
No,
but
wow.
I do want to check it out.
Treat yourself to that one.
It's tremendous. He plays a young man with schizophrenia. He has hallucinations and he has delusions, and he's off his medication because his medication like dowers his personality, and like he's just a young guy. He's a regular young 20-something guy. He's just trying to date and trying to live his life, and he's trying to navigate having this debilitating mental illness. And it's kind of like A Beautiful Mind. The Beautiful Mind was a slacker, was a hipster, was like a 20-something guy in an apartment. And it's pretty wild.
Well, what I like about Cruel Hearts is it's a bunch of people who are workaday actors, given material that is of high caliber to complement your script. People working beyond their credits. I mean, you watch everyone in Cruel Hearts and you go, why aren't these people like doing that?
That's what I want to know.
So hopefully this leads to
get famous. You son of a
Okay, I'm working on it.
You're like from my hometown.
It's your job.
You're like from my hometown. I'll be in a movie with Julia Roberts. Why don't you do that? Oh, yeah, all right.
Just go to Sundance.
I like her.
Yeah, exactly.
But you did bring in one Emmy winner to join the cast, or Emmy nominee, right? From
How has she not won an Emmy?
Yeah. Melora Hardin, nominated for Transparent, also known as Jan from The Office.
Yes.
And so great scenes with her that kind of happen outside the plot, but they really give a great color to Alev's character. Did you know Melora, or did you just make a pitch?
Well,
I've known Melora for years because her mother started Young Actor Space, which is a school that I run. So her mother, Diane Hardin, Melora Hardin, started that school years ago, and I knew Melora from running around Young Actor Space when I was, a wee buck out of college. But I didn't have anything to do with you reaching out to her, did I? I don't think.
No.
I think
she kind of got on our radar because you knew her.
Well, because Diane and Jerry, her mom and dad, came to see Favor at the screening you were at.
What did Jerry?
In North Hollywood.
Did Jerry come to see Favor?
Yeah, he was there that day when you guys were there, which is, I think, where I met you. Maybe?
Perhaps.
I think that was it.
Jerry Hardin is Deep Throat from X-Files, by the way.
Among many other
season
things.
One of the X-Files.
Yeah. You know him.
I love him. And
character actor.
I just met him at Christmas at her house.
No, you met him at that screening.
I didn't realize that. I was intimidated.
Or maybe you didn't. I don't know.
I didn't know he was there. I would have fangirled so hard.
They were so complimentary of Favor that I think when you talked to Melora about it, and Melora had not seen Favor, but I think they'd heard nice things about Paul.
Right, maybe.
And I think that had something to do with it, because I didn't reach out to Melora directly.
No, we did. We approached her.
He told me you had reached out, and I was like, that's a great idea, because I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, we approached her, and I dropped the shit out of your name, by the way.
Oh, good.
Patrick Day.
And she still signed up.
Weirdly. Like, she says, do I have any scenes? Do I have any scenes with them? No.
I'll do it.
Alev Aiden? He looks like James Dean? Great, good.
Yeah.
I was going to ask this earlier when you were talking about methods and acting in the rehearsals. And what is your method? Because you got to go to some deep places or lack of method.
He burps a lot.
Yeah. A lot of gas.
Yeah, it is.
I studied Stanislavski in college, but it wasn't until I got into Meisner that I really made huge breakthroughs and advancements and realized I'd kind of been winging it for 15 years, and now it's really authentic to the point where, I'm trained to, with modest success, to be in the moment more when you need to change from a director's note or something like that, because you've just prepared so much that when you get to perform it, you really are in the moment as much as possible. Whereas before, I kind of brought a bunch of stuff that I thought the scene needed and delivered it.
Right.
What's your deal? Did you either of those? Or?
I think both of those and all of them, to be honest. And I think it depends on the role. Like, as much as I sort of poo-poo method, if you look at Favor, and now that I think back on it, a lot of what I was doing was that. But I don't know if I prescribe to any one methodology, because I think that gets in my way. I think every actor works differently. I think what you should do is, and as a director or as a coach, you want to be able to give that actor that opportunity to find what works best for them. So the answer is not as clear as it should be. I don't prescribe to any one methodology. I think what I try to deliver is, first of all, your voice, if it's your movie. You know, I think I'm showing up going, okay, what does Paul want? I'm going to try and give him that while still feeling comfortable and connected with whoever I'm working with. But I also really like, as you said, finding those fresh moments once we move to set. Like, I'm happy to rehearse and have my choices, but for me, I want to keep it, you know, actively listening every time. And if it isn't working, then I got to divert to you, because I don't want to be so much in my head that I'm watching myself. That's when I'm doomed. And I think that's what I was doing on that scene in Favor that we were talking about, that started to get into my head that day that we were working with the blocking, because I'm watching myself.
Yeah.
And for me,
the blocking
just dead the moment I do.
It just ended up being not natural. The blocking, it ended up being it wasn't something. We worked at a flow in this rehearsal space, and it wasn't there on the day, and so we had to throw it away and go, what does feel natural here, and rebuild it from there. So the blocking wouldn't get in your way. The blocking's not supposed to be in your way. Right. The blocking's supposed to naturally evolve from the way the scene would play. But when you get into the actual space, sometimes it's so different. Yeah, and what you bring that day is different.
I guess exactly. Your mood on the day, you know. Yeah. Did you sleep well? Did you have a healthy meal, or did you cheat and have something terrible? But also, what I like to bring is, you know, every book I've read, every audition I've booked, every audition I haven't booked, I try to learn from everything. And then if we're sitting next to each other having a scene, I'm also trying to figure out your methodology without asking you. You know, to see where are you coming from, and how can I either help that? Because it's like an improv to me, even though it's scripted. If every improv, everybody tried to make their scene partner look good, every improv would be better.
Well, they always say, that's our old teachers used to say, in a scene, it's your partner's birthday.
That's great.
That's great.
That's great.
Yeah, that's a great Martin DeMott from Second City.
You know, it takes you out of your head, which is the goal of all this stuff, is to get out of your head, because you got enough going on in your head if you're following the writer's thought and trying to connect with what part of the story he or she's trying to tell.
Right. How do you know, the effort to relax.
And for something called the Young Actors Space, do you even talk about methods, or how do you teach young people?
Yeah, I mean, you know.
And how young are they?
Well, the classes start at 5, but I don't teach that age anymore, just because I did it for so many years that I'm sort of graduated beyond that.
Yeah, imagine with 5, it's like, well, today we're learning Strasbourg. The 5 is like, what are we doing?
For the 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds, and we often get into trouble with this from agents, because we won't give out scripts. Because if you do, oftentimes their parents are going to read it to them, and they're going to come back and pair it.
Yeah.
So it's more of a sense of play, and it's a lot about discipline. Because at that age, hit your mark, wait till somebody says action, do your job, wait for cut, and then go back to your goddamn mark and wait. And that sounds like a real easy thing, but that's not, you know. Yeah. But we teach 5 through adults through 65. You know, my 2 adult classes there's some incredibly talented people in there. Some of them have gone off and done series and come back just to kind of play for a little bit. And some of them are walking off the street and always wanted to do it and never had an opportunity, because we never differentiate. Just because you are on a series doesn't mean you're better than somebody else. It just meant you got to be in the right room at the right time, you know, with the right role. And I feel like everybody learns from everybody. At least for me as a teacher, I learn from everybody every day. I learn something at that space every day, because we're in the business of behavior.
Here's a great story back on Favor, a great method story. So in Favor, if you remember, his character is driving a woman he thinks is dead in the back of the car, and she wakes up, and he pulls over and he has to deal with her. He's going off to dispose her body, and she's actually alive. Spoiler alert for Favor. Available now on Tubi. So the actress that played the woman in the back seat, Abby, that actress did not want to rehearse. She went to some very dark places for this character, and she would cry. She's like, I don't want to. I just want to do it do as few takes as possible. She really didn't want anything to do with rehearsing. She wanted to just get there, and she didn't want to rehearse for camera. Just do it. get it done, get it out over. You know, she was very. So we're shooting on this road in the middle of nowhere. We're shooting in this road in the dark, right?
Pitch black.
Pitch black. This winding road, and like it was somewhere. I was in the valley.
Off Mulholland somewhere, but deep, you know.
Yeah, deep. So we're shooting out there, and it's really just it's Patrick. First of all, it's just Patrick and I in the car, and I'm shooting his side of it.
He's on the floorboard.
Yeah, I got the camera and the mic and the light, all three things, because the car is just too tight. And then we're going to go around and do her coverage, and I realize I can't do all of the things. I can't mic her and shoot and hold the light turning around. So I'm literally like, I call base camp, and I said to Joe Pizzula, like, can you come out here, you know, and can you hold the light and stand outside the car so we can shoot this scene? So he's like, yeah, okay, I'll be up there. Where are you? I'm like, we're somewhere on this fucking road.
Drive up here, look for pitch black.
So literally, yeah,
maybe
drive
you'll see
10
us.
minutes past this road and drive, and I'm going to stand out there by the side of the road with my phone so you see the light. I'm going to wave it, and I'll flag you in. So I'm like, guys, I'll be right back. So I go out.
Now, this is great because, you know the sound of a car door closing and the silence.
Yeah.
Right. Now, this actress, even when I got to set, I went to go say hi to her, and she didn't even want to say hi to me. You know, she cringed, and I was like, okay, all right, I'm going to give you your... But for me, Paul, that's exciting because now I have something fresh to work with.
Yeah.
You know, this is how you want to do this, which is great. So I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, but you tell when I left the car, tell the story.
So Paul goes, and he's walking, and he's swearing, and
I'm off the flag. I'm off the flag, Joe Pizzula.
and I just watch this little cell phone light sort of disappear off in the distance. And I have this woman who I met her, I think, at the audition, but that had been months prior, and now she's not talking to me. But she's tied up in the back of this car, weeping. There's one little Twinkie light. I think it was a
the car light.
Yeah. And she's just... So it felt like 10 minutes.
It was about 10 minutes.
It may have been longer.
Oh, no, yeah.
I'm just like, all right, we're going to see how this shit plays out. And while she starts doing her... I'm just sitting there, and every once in a while, I just go like this. And it was 10 minutes of that.
Oh, wow.
Which is, looking back on it, so beautiful. What a beautiful experience in the middle of Mulholland.
By the time action comes to that scene, there's a lot of palpable shit going on.
It's a great scene.
It's a pretty fun scene.
It's a great scene.
But I don't think she even talked to me afterwards. I think once we did the shovel situation.
The shovel scene,
she was like, I'm gone.
Wow.
And then I saw her at the premiere, and I was like, you were great, and you were so important to this. And I just had this little part. I said, no, without us having empathy for you, this movie doesn't work. And she was very kind, and but that was just her fucking process. And who am I to?
As long as it's authentic.
Yeah.
And and nobody gets hurt. There's a lot of talk about Joaquin Phoenix now instead of Joker.
I felt like I was hurting her. Like,
people and stuff.
We're doing this scene where in the desert where she's fighting with you, and like she was crying and like do you want to take a break or do you want to let's just get it over with? And she's like in the picture car holding the prop purse of her character, which the prop man, who's also a methody dude, had filled with like all these trinkets of her life, and like they had discussed what each one meant. And she's like in there just holding the person, crying and weeping and trembling, and I cut the coverage for that scene like in half because I felt like I was torturing her. And then later I realized that was dumb. I should have got what I needed, which I did. I should have kept going. I should have gone, cycled back to the shots I dropped and got those as well, and until I broke her, because I could get more. And I remember I told her later, I said, I realized I should have gone to find your breaking point, because I pulled back on you. And she's like, oh, I would have broke. I'm like, yeah, I would have stopped you. I go, yeah, but when?
Right.
One more shot? 2 more shots? 5 more shots? I mean, I don't want to William Friedkin her, but I mean, it's like, maybe I should have. Yeah. I don't know. I'm very proud of that scene. So,
well,
did that answer your question?
No, I don't even know there was a question. It's a great story.
It's a good method story.
That's true.
Because she's really good in the movie. I think she's really good in Favor.
I think what you should do as an actor, and you probably can relate to this now, having done this that long, is take what works for you, man.
Yeah.
Take what works for you and go with that, and run as fast as you can with it until it doesn't work for you anymore. And then the moment it doesn't, throw it the fuck away like it's yesterday's newspaper and find something else to connect with.
Well, that's what I was saying. I've moved on to Meisner, and it's working better. So I'm going to ride it for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Meisner, like, a lot of the eye contact and repetition is good stuff. Some of it, though, is, for me, I'm like, no one does this in life. No one holds conversations like this, you know. So as a technique, it's great, but we don't do that when we talk.
Right.
So it's not necessarily 100% true, but finding your way through to that to get to that truth, or in those moments where you need to do that, use it because it works, you know.
And as a director, I'm just saying, like, again, like, whatever the actor needs to do, I just need to figure it out. Sometimes they tell me, sometimes I observe it, but like, what do they need, or what works best for them? I want to facilitate them doing that. I don't want to take that away from them. So she didn't want to rehearse? Fine.
Right.
We won't rehearse. Done. We didn't do any rehearsal before. I literally I just find the focus and we just shoot. The first time when she's saying those lines, that's the first time she's saying them on at all in front of the camera. If someone wants to rehearse exhaustively, like Blaine Weaver again, loves to run lines
Wants
until
to know every movement. Wants to
He run lines until he's purple.
Like Adam Carl, he likes to, when he would act, he would, like, you know, we did a play and he always wanted to, on this moment, because it's a comedy, I'm going to pick my cup up here and do that. Well, I'm not that guy.
Right.
Now, he was directing this play, but my intention was always to kind of fuck with that because it keeps it alive, you know?
Yeah.
And so we're working completely differently, but it works. It finds its way, you know, to work because it's giving him an element of surprise, plus it's allowing me the game of sort of back and forth with him,
right,
which keeps me active.
Was that Waiting for Ophelia?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, rounding out the Cruel Hearts cast, speaking of actors, we have Eddie Jemison, and, from the Ocean's 11 movies, and he was on Hung and Bruce Almighty and stuff, but he also has this great indie cred. I love Eddie. Bonnie Roots, we mentioned, and the great Marion Kerr fills out the cast as well. I talked to her at the Pasadena Film Festival. You can find that audio on themovieguys.net. Waiting Your Film played there. So tell me about the festival run that the movie had.
It was a good festival run. We did we did 10 film festivals, and we did something called Hogfest. Can we talk about Hogfest?
I think you should talk about
Hogfest. So
that was one I dodged.
You dodged it. Well, you know what? Look, it wasn't. It's not a film festival. It's a music festival that takes place in Carlsbad, New Mexico, and the guy who runs it is a DJ, and he'd interviewed us on the radio for Favor. So, yeah.
Oh,
Tim Binder connected us, and we read for him. We did an interview with him, and so he reached out to Tim and said, "Tim, I do this music festival every year. I'm thinking of adding a movie element. Who you got? Who might be interested?" And he goes, well, the guys who did Favor, they have a new movie, and maybe you can play. So he reached out to me, and I was like, sure, why not? He flew out me and our producer Jonathan Brown, who goes by J-Dog, and will hitherto be referred to as J or J-Dog. They flew us out, they put us up, and we screened the movie there. And it's a music festival, so like this ZZ Top cover band and this band, and but it was funny. Wasn't
your screening at like 10 a.m. or something?
Yeah.
It was something crazy.
They did a biker because it's a biker music festival. So there was a
hog. There you go.
A hog. There was a hog. Yeah, there was a hog parade, like 8 a.m, which led to the theater and on the music and everything else. We were staying at the Super 8 Motel. Now there's several motels like Ramada and Quality Inn, at this Carlsbad, right across the street from the venue. We're staying at the Super 8, which is the lowest on that chain. And I'm thinking, why are they we get there, and literally the woman, I go, hi, we have a reservation. She's like, huh? We have a reservation. I don't think so. Like,
I didn't know.
Our names are in. Okay, who? Let's try Hogfest. Let's try Paul Osborne. Paul Osborne. No, I don't know him. I'm Paul Osborne. I look at the list of her. I go, that's me. Oh, you have room. Like, yes, we have a room. And it's like the floor's uneven and it's weird. And Jay and I are both like, And all the TVs are set to like sports mode. So every movie looks like a friggin' soap opera
with motion smoothing.
Yeah, everything's
That's
like
the worst.
It's some off-brand television I've never heard of. It's all nothing but motion smoothing, and we get there and I'm like, well, I wonder where the talent's staying, because we're like, this is a music festival, and like where the talent's staying? Like, where's this? We gotta be. They must have filled up the good hotel, and we're here. But Kim Klein,
Super 9.
Kim Klein, who was like the
regular 8,
the big headliner,
regular 8,
the big headliner. Kim Klein was literally next door to us
in the Super 8.
Yeah, we could hear like her hairdryer going.
At least it worked. The hairdryer
And
she
so-
provided it. It wasn't with the room. I mean, it wasn't one of those
it
fancy
was-
rooms that has an iron and a.
There was a free bowl you could ride, a free bull riding thing that Michelob Light had put up there. It was an interesting festival, but it was yeah.
And then Gravitas Ventures comes along, and so, or did they come along, or did you reach out, or how did the relationship start?
released Favor.
Oh, okay.
So the relationship went back to Favor. So
great. Cool.
we resigned. Favor did well with them. So we resigned with them for Favor for another 5 years or whatever it was last year. And I said, we have a new movie. We're like, oh, let us know. And so they snatched this one too. So
yeah, they're great for indie film. And we had Leon Rossum in here talking about The Midnighters. Yeah. And we had Tommy Avalone in here talking about the Bill Murray stories, all those Gravitas films.
Yeah,
and then
good
they
stable.
did they even had more bigger, I think, it's the word I'm looking for, exposure with things like, what was that movie called? For the Love of Spock. Of course, Sound City many years ago, another great doc as well. So yeah, they're a good company.
Yeah, I mean, they have definitely tiers of films. but yeah, they're a great company. And they're, I mean, we're lucky enough that they picked up our movie for domestic.
But there are screenings.
U.S. and Canada. They are.
Where can those be found on February 11th?
There's a service called Tug. Or there was a service called Tug. Tug is a theatrical booking service for independent films. It's been around for 9 years. We did a bunch of stuff with Favor for them, and we've had great success with them.
The Nashville screening was a Tug screen and went off without a hitch. It was great.
Well, all the Favor screenings were pretty much Tug. So most of our screenings, most of our theatrical engagements have been booked through Tug. So literally last week on Tuesday or Wednesday, Joe Pizzula writes me and goes, hey, because he had set up an Albany engagement. And because he's from Albany, and he goes, the Albany engagement says called off. What did you do? What happened? And then, and I said, what are you talking about? So I looked online and called off. And then I checked our Birmingham screening, called off. Checked all of our Chicago, all of the screenings were called off. And all the screenings that we were trying to set up were gone. And I was like, what happened? So no communication from Tug. I wrote to them, nothing. I called them. I called their emergency line. I found the number for that, nothing. Wrote to our reps, nothing. No communication, no idea what's happening. Finally, J-Dog is literally stalking social media, like writing to them over Twitter, writing them over Instagram, writing them over Facebook. He finally gets a reply to the Facebook post to them, their Facebook email to them. They write back, we're closing our operations down. We can no longer do these screenings. Don't write to us again. And they literally shut the social media account down at that moment while he was on it with them. They shut down Twitter. They shut down Instagram. They're gone. Alex Ferrari, who runs Indie Film Hustle, contacted me, and he dealt with the demise of Distributor. He broke that story, and which went to IndieWire and Reporter and everywhere else. And so we talked about that, and he started a story. He ran a story about Tug. I think that forced Tug's CEO to finally release an email to, because I still had heard nothing as a rights holder who they owe money to from a couple of screenings we did last year.
Well, but not only that, the issue is, Tug had everybody's emails. So when you would pay for these screenings, you go directly to Tug. So you guys have no way to find out who bought tickets, right?
Yeah.
And to reimburse them.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so we're charged for tickets.
So what does that fall on? It doesn't fall on Tug. It falls on Cruel Hearts or a bunch of people that are
less than 2 weeks before the film comes out, suddenly our 3/4 of our theatrical infrastructure collapses and is gone. And people who bought tickets, they're getting emails. They got an email on the second day saying the screening was canceled because of lack of interest. Don't worry, you weren't charged. I'm like, I know they were charged.
Yeah.
Joe had bought a couple of tickets to his own screening and gave them to people. He's like, I was charged. I haven't been reimbursed.
And bear in mind, these are the same people that a week after these screenings, you're going to ask to rent the movie online or buy the movie because it's getting distributed.
This is revenue coming back to the film. These are core audience members.
You think these people are going to trust you to,
it's a PR nightmare. Yeah. So
cruelheartsmovie.com for updates on when the screenings and where they'll be.
Conspicuouspictures.com/theaters. As of right now, Birmingham and Albany are a go. So ticket links will be up in the next few days. Albany, it's going to be the same theater. It's going to be the same night. It's going to be a half an hour earlier. And if you bought a ticket to that screening, if you haven't reached out to Joe Pizzullo or he hasn't reached out to you, you should write to us at info@conspicuouspictures.com and we'll
Make it right.
get you in touch. It right. We'll get you in touch. So if you bought a ticket to that screening, he will make sure you are at the theater and you can get in. And then and there'll be additional seats available as well. It's a bigger theater. So there'll be 40, 50 more seats. If you want at Albany,
that's Albany, New York, right?
Yeah, Albany,
Georgia,
New York.
I believe, too. So
So if you're planning on buying tickets.
Birmingham, too. We are in Birmingham.
Right.
But if you're planning on buying tickets, the tickets will be available in a couple of days, and they're through the theater. There's no shenanigans possible. There's no third party, so you're fine. And also, the TUG CEO did write to us filmmakers finally and say that they will be reimbursing refunding in the next 48 to 72 hours. So hopefully they're of their word, and that does happen, and we're all set to go. But and then Birmingham, it's going to be the same night, same time, different venue. It's going to be at the Sidewalk Theater now. It's a slightly smaller theater. It was a 103-seat theater originally. Now it's a 90-seat theater, but they'll open up a second screening. So if you wanted to see it and you can't get into that first screening, second one. So the ticket links for that will be up as well. And I think that's all work. So, and then Denver is unaffected. Denver is completely.
So was Denver TUG as well, or no? Oh, so it was on its own.
Denver was arranged completely separately, and so, but Chicago unfortunately is going away, and a few other cities we were setting up are.
I want to go back to my question. So when are the screenings? New York and L.A. And then I thought I'd get on to the next question, and there was this whole other thing. There's some drama.
Go to indiefilmhustle.com. Alex Ferrari's amazing.
Site. Between the two of you, you'll make it right.
Yeah, no, it's in the works, and we have an incredible. What really struck me when that happened was we have an incredible team of people working on this movie.
Yeah.
Joe, Bill, Rob,
independently
John,
producing them on their own.
Yeah, all of them were like this chain was.
I want to do a screen. Bonnie did a screening up in Portland,
which we're not going to get paid for because it was through TUG, and TUG never paid us.
No,
yeah,
and that was like months ago.
Huh? Yeah, we never got paid for the last quarter. So, but the point is that the team was like really, they all rallied. No one turned on each other. Everybody was just like, we're going to get this done. And everybody was helping everybody else. Just today, TCPs got shipped to the theaters. So we'll be, because before TUG would provide DCPs. And now I'm like, I guess I got to ship DCPs. I guess you guys might want the actual movie to run. So it went out. So.
Well, VOD and Blu-ray run the same time as well.
Same day.
Okay, so that's a good hour on Cruel Hearts. So I wanted to. I should point out, you've given me Cruel Hearts Valentine mints or candies.
Yes,
with the hearts, but they don't say like "love ya." True to the film, they say, "How could you?"
You just destroyed a collectible on air.
I know what you did. I know because I'm eating the damn candies. So. But will everyone get these?
Good
or
for
no?
you.
We had a limited number. There's a bunch in Birmingham for the Birmingham screening.
There were a bunch in Phoenix. I think we get
a lot in Phoenix, and they've been spread around. But we're running low on them. So now I'm saving them for podcasters and radio hosts.
Till death.
Till death.
You didn't.
You gotta. Come on, Meisner. Give it a little.
Till death.
There you go. Give it a little noir.
Have you ever had some of your own mints or candies?
How could you? I know what you did.
Cruel Hearts.
Do want to say one more thing. We have a little. There's some bonus material. If you buy or rent the film on iTunes on or before February 11th, which is our release day. So if you pre-order it, or if you get it on release day on iTunes, you email us at info@conspicuouspictures.com any kind of proof of purchase, just like a screen cap of your iTunes window or just a picture off your Apple TV, whatever, to show you've rented or purchased it. We will send you back a private link to watch our behind-the-scenes documentary, Mean Spleens.
Right.
We did the same thing with Favor. It was called Party Favor, and it was outtakes, bloopers, crazy on-set stories, a whole behind-the-scenes menagerie. So if you're into indie film or you want to see, it's full of spoilers. So watch the movie first. Yeah. But we have there's a whole story on Cruel Hearts where on our 11th day of shooting, we were shooting all the scenes with Alev's character in his motel room, which meant he was the only actor there the whole day. It was all these scenes just with him by himself. And I noticed it was day 11 on the call sheet. So I started going up to 11, going day 11, day 11, which he fucking hated.
I'm sure.
So he went to
not thrilled with it right
So
now.
when no one was looking, he went.
You've heard it twice.
Yeah.
He went to the slate and he changed the name on the slate, director name, to like Paul Asshole or something, and the crew thought this was hilarious. So the rest of the shoot, they kept fucking with the slate,
Different names.
And so if you want to see all the different slate names,
Nice.
there's a whole section of Mean Spleens where montage of all the different Paul Osborne, Saul Rousebob, Blake Stanley. We have you and Alev on a hot mic in the elevator talking smack about us. That'll be in Mean Spleens. Oh, it's
really?
friggin' hilarious.
Oh.
You want to know? You're trying to decide who you want to ask to prom, me or Joe.
Did I start that conversation?
Yes, you did.
Good Lord. See, the Mean Spleens thing, like the favorite thing, I'm always horrified there's going to be something terribly embarrassing.
It's all good.
I'm
It's all
sure
good.
It's going to be
all
terribly
good.
embarrassing.
If you want to see me on a stripper pole,
No.
No.
Oh, wait, yes.
no. If that's something if that's
Yes, said the host.
If
At
that's
the Panty Palace?
If that's your heart, yes. If that's your heart song, then then on or before February 11th, rent or buy Cruel Hearts on iTunes.
There you
Send
go.
proof of
That's
purchase.
your heart song. You're
Send
really
the
original.
proof of purchase to info@conspicuouspictures.com. We will send you back the link to Mean Spleens, and you can see
Paul
Jay
on a pole.
and Jay on a pole.
Yeah.
Well, the last things I want to touch on are... Was I supposed to be more shocked that you were
No,
on a server?
sorry.
Sorry, I'm not.
Why were you on the pole? Because it was there.
You know, I'm eating these Cruel Hearts.
Good.
I know what you did, Hearts. And you realize you missed opportunity to not get a guy like that for your trailer. A gangster. His wife is cheating on it. You know, you never have.
You know how much those guys cost?
Yeah, exactly. But I was going to ask if you...
I know how much those guys cost.
Just in general, have you seen anything lately? Let's expand it to the world of movies.
Well, you know,
it's Oscar time.
Award season.
Have
I've
you seen all the everything?
Yeah, I've seen
I've seen a lot.
pretty much everything.
I saw Marriage Story the other night, and that wrapped it up. I've seen them all now.
Oof, that's a
tough
great
one.
That's the best thing I think Noah Baumbach's ever done.
What a great film!
It's a great-
Excellent. And the
I'm never going to watch it again, but it's absolutely no. It was triggering.
Yeah.
But it's terrific.
That's how I felt about The Wrestler. Remember that movie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great movie.
Glad I saw it in the theaters. I will never see that movie again.
So I can watch that one over and over.
Not me.
a lot of people
couldn't
say that
eat.
about Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah.
Another one I can watch over and over. Aronofsky. You guys are
he's
having.
great.
You guys, I love Aronofsky. I'm problems with Aronofsky.
Who makes uncomfortable movies?
He does.
I thought Marriage Story was excellent. I think
Excellent.
the one thing I hadn't yet seen from Adam Driver until this film was vulnerability, and it sits well on him. And I thought he was
God.
excellent
good.
in this movie.
Good.
The scene where he's on the floor of the kitchen bleeding.
Oh my God. But I was laughing like hysterically during that scene. It's so
painful,
embarrassing.
embarrassing.
No, it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Baumbach's got this energy to his writing that's just, you just, next thing you know, it's over. It's like, but that was 2 hours or whatever. I think it was 90 minutes or whatever it was.
No. It was 2
hours.
It's over
and
2
change.
hours.
His dialogue just bounces, man. It's really good.
It does. For some of his movies, though, like I didn't like Frances Ha. I didn't like Pauline at the Wedding or Margot at the Wedding. Like some of the stuff, I couldn't get through Meyerowitz stories. So sometimes his stuff just hits me as just kind of, But The Squid and the Whale was great. I actually hadn't seen that until a few months ago.
Squid and the Whale?
Yeah, but
I remember.
But
seeing
Marriage
that
Story is like
early
I think,
on.
But Marriage Story is like I think it's kind of a masterpiece. And it's really a great piece of work.
I still go with my top vote is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I saw it the third time the other day. I could spend 6 hours with
Great
Rick and Cliff.
performances in that.
I mean, I don't care what they do. I want to see them go shopping.
The first time I saw that movie, I didn't. It was okay, but it didn't hit me right.
Me too.
Really? Yeah. So the second time I saw it, because I think you were expecting a different kind of movie from Quentin Tarantino, and it's the second time I saw it with my 17-year-old, and we're driving to the New Beverly to see it because he really wanted to see it, and I've been telling him anything about it. I'm driving and I go, I wonder if he knows who Charles Manson is. Mm-hmm. Like never discussed. I'm like, oh, well, I wonder if he'll know any of the. So I'm like, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to. Because they never say Charles Manson, they say Charlie, and he's never really around.
His specter is there, though.
His specter was there, so we saw it, and I got to see it through his eyes. And he didn't know the fate of Sharon Tate. He doesn't know the history, none of this. And then later I asked him, and he's like, "Isn't Charles Manson wasn't he like a serial killer, like a John Wayne Gacy?" I said, "No, that's him." And I explained who he was. Seeing it through his eyes also was really interesting. It works even better without historical context. because when I first saw it, I didn't really understand how Margot Robbie was being used. At first, I was like, why is she just this vapid, dancing blonde? Like, what the fuck? Why they're totally wasting her. So the second time, because I'm not thinking about the history of where she ends up, I'm thinking at her in the context of just the film, because that's how my son's looking at it, and I go, oh, she's the opposite of DiCaprio in the movie. He's the reality, she's the dream. She's effortless, she's successful, she's got a great relationship, and she's beautiful and young. And when he's on set on this TV pilot playing the villain, struggling to get the lines out and kicking himself and like going
God, that's fun to watch.
Yeah,
that's
so
fun
good,
to watch.
so good. They're
intercutting with his face in the ice bowl. I mean, just
they're intercutting with her in a theater doing the best part of making movies, kicking back and watching it with an audience that loves it, and
by herself.
She's having dessert and he's eating his vegetables. And so, I love that movie. I thought that was terrific. The second time I saw it, I really understood it.
Well, especially coming out of Rise of Skywalker, like I did recently, I just saw a bunch of corporate guys trying to make decisions, second-guessing what you think you might like in a movie and making changes based on fan service. And I just thought, man, I need to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood again, which I did, because here's a guy who just loves 60s Hollywood, and he knows you're going to love it, so he has to wrap you up in it and get you involved. And he loves Sharon Tate, and he has to save her life, and the movie's dripping out of every fiber of his being, and you can see it, and it's like, that's the movie I want to see. I don't want to see the guys, fixing stuff, and I just, I could watch it over and over again.
I think it's a film that's gonna, because it is hanging out with those people on those days. The second time I saw it with my son. I was like, I remember I usually, when I go to the movies, I don't get a drink, or if I do, I drink it to the end because I'm like, I don't want to have to go to the bathroom.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because
that's who we are now.
I'm middle aged and I have no So I'm like, fuck it, I can bring I bought a big old, because I'm like, this movie's 3 hours.
Just wear it depends, dude.
Well, the second time, I'm like, it's the second time I've seen it.
You finished, you empty the cup, you pee in the cup,
it's the second time I've seen it. There's plenty of space where the movie breathes. I can go to the bathroom. I'll relax and enjoy a big Diet Coke. There's no breathing room in that movie. I mean, for a film that's not really driven by plot, and there's a lot of people driving around and a lot of what you would think feels like B-roll, there's still no fat on that movie. Yeah. I'm like, I didn't leave from my seat. I was just like, I'm trembling with bladder pain the whole time, but like, there's nowhere to go. And that Spawn Ranch sequence is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And
with nothing happening.
That's Pitt's Oscar, too. Just watching the gears turn on that, and watching him figure things out, and watching him play people off each other. And I just love that scene.
Yeah.
I just got Charlie Says from Netflix, which came out last year.
Ooh.
I don't know if you guys know about this one. It's really interesting because it's along the same idea, but it's really the women's stories. It's about Squeaky Fromm and this woman that takes them on once they're in jail, and they have flashbacks to it. But I really enjoyed that. If you haven't seen that,
I have not.
And you liked Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, you might really appreciate that too.
That whole, it's
pretty cool.
Little tiny things, like when Pitt comes home from walking the dog at the end, right before the guys come up. He comes in, he shuts his door, he deals with the dog, and he starts making food. But he doesn't lock the door. And and I just thought to myself the third time I saw it, that's the last time that happens. After Manson, it's a different Hollywood, and all the joy and fun of Sharon Tate's life is squandered, and we see like this uglier part.
Well, you talk about a relaxed actor, boy. That performance that he put on Brad Pitt in that movie was just incredible.
He's never been better.
Clinic of just like, I'm just here hanging out, man. Yeah. It's just awesome.
That's a great character too.
Yeah.
Did you watch Mindhunter on Netflix? Second season?
Saw season 1. I haven't seen season
2. They have Manson, and the same actor playing Manson in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood plays on the other side of it.
Oh,
is that because they're visiting killers in prison, so it's after all this. Whereas in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it's before. It's really interesting to see.
I wonder if it's the same actor in Charlie Says. I think it might be. He's just the Charlie Manson guy.
This guy's like Jesus Christ on typecast.
Good 5 years for him.
And did you guys see Parasite?
I did. I just saw that recently.
Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, that's, to me, so far the best combination that Bong Joon-ho, director Bong, has made in combining like all the drama with all the comedy. Like Okja kind of flew off the rails comedy-wise. Yeah. Snowpiercer kind of just was way too over the top. Parasite kind of drove everything right down the middle very nicely. I think is his best
Can't
directing
look away.
effort yet.
You know, you couldn't look away at that one. Did you guys like Motherless Brooklyn?
No.
Did you see it? You did not.
I did not see.
I knew I was in trouble within the first 5 minutes. I'm like, I want to shut this off now. And Leslie, my wife, who was a huge Ed Norton fan, is like going, no, let's keep watching it. And it does get a little better, but I thought it was pretty.
I liked him. I thought, why does he have to do this? Like, he doesn't have to do that kind of role, you know, but I thought he really went for it.
Well, he did, but I think the rest of the acting of the film is pretty bad.
And Paul thought, why does he have to do this?
The directing is pretty bad. It's a Chinatown knockoff.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just.
That's it. You're out, Patrick.
That's
No more Paul Osborne
why I
movies
asked.
for you.
What about, and you didn't like 1917 either, did you?
No, I loved it.
Oh, you did?
okay.
No,
I loved it.
My father and I watched it, and he was like, I felt like Terrence Malick at Wandered. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's riveting.
It's riveting. It's beautiful. It's a little clean,
It's a little clean,
but it's a great film. I mean, like I said, I saw the screener and I was like, I have to go see this on the big screen.
it's great.
Just to look for cuts.
Well, there's
Right.
the drama. There's the drama.
well,
there's the tension.
there is
suspense.
one cut in
There
the
is
film.
one, maybe two. I don't know.
No, there's an intentional cut where he gets knocked out.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And so we cut to black and we cut back. So it's like
Daytime.
It's
think
not
the other-
they're not hiding an edit there.
I think the other cut is when he's in the back of the truck and it gets stuck in the mud. I think there's one shot
There
where
was one there, I
where
thought.
the screen
Well,
gets all
there's-
black because there's no way they could.
And when they
take-
first
stick
go
the
into
truck
the
in
bunker.
mud.
Whenever they walk inside something.
Yeah.
When they walk in to
Because
get
the light
orders.
changes, they
when
can-
they walk in to,
So there's all this excitement and drama coupled with how the hell did they do that just makes that movie so interesting
that's
to
what I
watch.
thought.
But if you talk about the technical achievement, I thought the acting was really great.
That's the I thing. Did too.
And I
thought
knew
the
those
writing-
guys would be forgotten too. I
those
said there's going to be so
two
many.
guys,
People go,
they're
oh,
great.
the screenplay is. I thought the screenplay was great.
They were great. And
You know?
they carried that movie on their shoulders.
And people were, and it's an original thing, by the way. It's based on the stories they would hear from like their great grandfather.
Yeah.
From the war. You get a whole taste of that war through the eyes of two guys on the ground level. And I thought that was terrific.
Yep.
Well, we could talk movies all night, and we probably will at a diner after
Yes.
this. But I do have one last question. We ask it of everyone who comes on the show. We've talked to you about it before.
Yep.
What is your favorite movie of all time, Patrick? Now, let's just recap yours real quick. It's still Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders of
Did you
the
see
Lost
anything?
Ark.
Yes.
You may think I'm lying, but it might be the Blues Brothers.
I wouldn't
Could
think that.
definitely be the Blues Brothers.
That is a great
I'm a huge
movie.
Blues Brothers fan.
There's a friend of ours on WGN who does a show, Justin Kaufman, in Chicago, and they're voting on the best Chicago movie. They narrowed it down, I think, to Ferris Bueller and Blues Brothers, and that is a Sophie's choice.
It's quite a good, yeah. That's a list.
Here's the
So
thing.
I don't know what one. I'm going
And
to
what's
check it out. but-
interesting is I am not a fan of musicals.
But that's another.
It's
world.
It's another level.
Call it a musical.
another
yeah,
level.
but to me, I
it-
never even really saw it as a musical. I just saw it as this, like an event.
It's an epic piece of big screen cinema entertainment.
And still works today. Stands the test of time.
And have you seen the Blu-ray? I think it's like an extended cut.
I did. I have the Blu-ray.
Yeah, I have the Blu-ray too. But it has. I mean, it contains inarguably the greatest car chase of all time.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can't. Okay, like, oh, there's a French action. No, French action is a great car chase. I'm sorry, the Blues Brothers car chase is better.
The
You
car.
broke my watch. Come on, it's the
The
greatest.
car crash total is just so much higher in Blues Brothers.
It's a half an hour of the movie.
Yeah.
The
All
years
set
of-
to Sweet Home Chicago.
The years of
As soon as-
excessive violence against the Blues Brothers has been approved. I mean, it's just.
As soon as I hear, I'm like, here we
You're right
go.
there.
They're
Yeah.
off to the races
Cannot.
with the carnage.
You cannot. No.
And Steven Spielberg's cameo.
Yep.
As
Frank Oz.
Frank Oz.
One unused prophylactic.
One soiled.
Yeah, Landis, he had a real good run.
He's not that old.
No, he's
He was
still directing.
but he was really young when he started. He's only like 60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, come back, dude.
Yeah,
I was
I'd
lucky
love
enough
see that.
to work with him on a commercial one time.
No shit.
He was, and I was like, because I'm such a fan, and I never told him that, but it was just so interesting to see that. He's just a mile a minute. He just talk.
But he's made some really, I mean, people don't talk enough about how inventive his movies were because they were, like the Blues Brothers is an action film, a musical, a comedy, and it's more than the sum of the total of the three genres. You have American Werewolf in London, which is the first film to really combine belly laugh comedy
with
and
horror.
horror. I mean, the guy
Started a genre.
has a ghoul ghost telling him to kill himself the entire film.
Yeah. And we're laughing about it.
And we're laughing about it because he goes, you look like a meatloaf. There's Into the Night's another one that people don't talk about it enough, and that's a terrific, violent, incredibly dark comedy. I'm like, he really found ways to subvert genres and invent things.
And there's something stately about his comedies too, like Trading Places, from the score to the presentation
They're
of the
cinematic.
credits to everything.
They're-
Yeah, it's very cinematic.
yeah.
And yet the comedy's just off
And
the
not
chart.
a wasted moment.
Yeah.
You know, you're on that ride. You know.
All right, well that wraps it. That's all I got, gentlemen. That wraps the other TMG interview.
Let's go
follow
buy-
us. What's that?
Let's go buy a piece of pie.
Let's do it. Follow us on Twitter at The Movie Guys, Facebook.com/The Movie Guys, and as well as YouTube, Instagram, all that other nonsense for daily jokes, articles, media links, and more. Thanks to Paul Osborne and Patrick Day. CruelHeartsMovie.com, and what other plugs are there? ConspicuousPictures.com.
ConspicuousPictures.com is our website where you can find all things Cruel Hearts.
Is there personal social to plug or no?
Sure. Well, you can follow Cruel Hearts Movie on Facebook, which actually you can find everything. I'm on Facebook as Paul Makes Movies. I'm on Twitter as Paul Makes Movies. I'm on Instagram as Paul Makes Movies. I am basically Paul Makes Movies pretty much every social media platform. I might even be on LinkedIn as Paul Makes Movies. I'm not sure.
Oh.
I never go to LinkedIn. I have
I
an
go
account.
once a year. I friend everyone who friended me, and then I wait a year again.
Literally, I've logged in twice in like 5 years or whatever it's been around. And Patrick, plug your social media, you bastard.
I'm at Pactoric, Patrick with actor in the middle,
see.
on Instagram. I don't know what else I have.
Oh, your Dharma Bum.
That's right. Everybody's
Dharma
on
Bum
Instagram.
007 at Twitter,
Yeah.
and then Facebook and all
Hey,
that
you're
stuff.
Patrick. Are you Patrick?
I think Patrick Day.
On
I should
Facebook?
know these things. Yes, on Facebook.
Yes, you should.
Or Patrick W. Day, maybe. I should know these.
I wonder why you're not famous.
Search Patrick Day. See what you come up with.
I made him get a Twitter. I'm like, get a Twitter. He's like, Dharma Bum 007. I'm like, I want one where they can find you.
Yeah, I blew that one. Sorry, Paul.
And as ever, you can find everything we're up to, including reviews, articles, and more. Interviews like this one at themovieguys.net. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, movie guys.
Thank you, guys.